So questions and answers very, very quickly. Questions and answers. We are also, media will also take questions and answers online. Very, very quick. Questions, answers, contributions, please, because those contributions are important. So, after you, sir. You are number 2, sir.
Mine comes in terms of contribution.
Thank you very much, sir.
There might be people here who are wondering how this can be possible. I can tell you that if you decide not to take an Uber to where you are going and trek, you save money. And that money can be invested. You might think it's a joke, but if you don't make a deliberate policy of saving money and investing that money immediately, because it's good to save, yes, but you must learn how to invest it, which is why this lecture is very important. When we got married, we took a decision. Every money that was given to any of our children when at birth, we said we would use it to buy shares for them. Today we are so happy that those shares that we bought, maybe in GT or in Zenith, those boys are the ones who are going to enjoy it. So it's important that whatever we're saying today, people get to learn that it is possible and it's doable. If you don't know that it's doable, then you will have a problem. You don't start investing when you have billions or hundreds of millions. It's when you have that 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Pastor Augusto. I don't know if you want to make a comment about, on this side of the globe, our attitude to inheritance is sharing. The Asians grow their inheritance. And in fact, there are some family systems to here that have inheritance and have grown it as opposed to sharing it. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, my comment will be, you saw how, when we looked at that picture of when you reinvest for 20 years, and it was 86 times, right? What you may not realize immediately is that if you reinvest for another 20 years, it actually becomes 86 times 86. So I'm just speaking to what he said. So you can imagine if you were to do this over 2 or 3 generations, the amount of wealth, and that's where, that's my response to you, the amount of wealth that you then create becomes so much. The only thing is that you must make sure that those children and grandchildren, they are properly grounded in Christ. Because there is an amount of wealth that can destroy. Because that's the other side of this thing. So a good man that is leaving an inheritance to his children's children is not only about financial or material inheritance, it's also about the right spiritual inheritance as well, to be able to manage and sustain. So thank you very much for that comment, sir. Thank you. Very quickly, ushers, please move round.
Hello.
Please go ahead, wherever you are, I don't know. Oh,
Some of the concepts that Pastor Augusto is talking about, they're not particularly pedestrian. I mean, like, you would have to be a little bit smart to be able to understand how to actually use those concepts very well. I worked in the bank for 12 years, and it didn't take me long to realize I should just go to Adeyemo and not try and be shaking with competing with banking ops and all of those things. You know, some people have certain skills that they can use to start some of the things you're talking about. But I think the most important thing, and it's not a question, it's actually a comment, the most important thing is about discipline. A lot of times, even when you are saving with good intentions, and those little shakings of inflation and all of that, it doesn't even have to be such big words like that. It could just be a little thing like a sickness could come along, and without the right type of discipline, you begin to spend what you were trying to build into a nest egg. Then the last comment I'm going to make is something to do with what you just answered just now. As you are investing in money, you also need to be investing in the people. Between a husband and wife, it may be the wife that is actually the smarter person when it comes to the concepts that you're talking, even without knowing what they are called. I had a lot of aunties that were Alakijas. They never went to any school, but they knew how to grow money. They single-handedly sent 8 children to America without the help of a husband. There was something those women knew that some men don't know, no matter how clever they are. As you are building money, build people. Don't ever look at your wife or husband, as the case may be, because you are the breadwinner, and think they have nothing to bring to the table. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, sir. Okay, talking about passive income and compounding returns. My question is, what advice will you give to a young fellow like me?
Start now with whatever money you have and be adding to that money consistently.
Okay. So, like, what attainable returns or realistic percent should we be expecting for monthly or yearly returns for a period of, let's say, 20 years?
Hand over your money to professional money managers who will invest it for you. It's not everybody that has the skill to invest. In fact, I can tell you for free that 8 out of 10 people, they don't know how to invest. So hand your money over to professional. Yes, what you do. But do it consistently. Just consistently. Even though you may start very small, over time, come so big. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Church. First, I'd like us to give Pastor Auguste a round of applause. Thank you, sir. Excellent. And thank you, King's Court, because, this isn't normal topics that you hear in a church on a Sunday. But quick contributions, things we can do. We're coming to the end of the month, and payday usually comes up around the 28th. So I'll tell you what I did to start. As we're Christians, you already pay tithe when you get your salary. That's if you're if you're working or even if you're running a business, make sure you're paying yourself. Make it formal. So presumably you've learned how to live on 90%. I suggest you take another 10% and pay yourself. You did the work. Start paying yourself 10% every month. I called that 10% compulsory savings. Live on the rest of the 80. Did you hear that? Live on 80 because you are an expert at this thing. You've been living on 90 if you're a diligent Christian. You can make it work. Live on 80. Put that 10% aside and do not touch it. If you're currently an employee, please create what is called an emergency savings fund. There are no job guarantees anywhere. If you build that, and that should be about 6 months of your expenses, assuming that your skill set will find you a job within 6 months. If you know your skill set will find you a job in a longer period of time, add up your monthly expenses. That's your target amount that you're working towards. Start with this 10%. When it builds to that target amount, you have your emergency fund in case of emergencies. Emergencies could be job loss or your health. That money is there. It is not to be invested in long-term assets. So
it will be a money market fund.
It's strictly money market short-term in case of emergencies. You'll be surprised that it creates a buffer. This list is not in any particular order, and I'll throw it out. Watch out, and this is largely for Beulah. It's too late for some of us. Lifestyle creeping in on you. Be careful because in Nigeria we're very flamboyant. Don't spend principal looking the part. When they look at you, your entire net worth is on your body. Watch out for it comes. If you told me today, don't want to tell you stories. As old as I am, I regret. If I tell you that Lekki Scheme 1 was being sold for 25,000 naira per plot when I was working, which, let me digress. Employers who are in this room, please, your new young entrants, please let them have this sort of training as part of their induction program. When we started working, nobody spoke to us about this plan. So you learned based on, you were lucky if you came from a home where money was discussed and your parents guided you. Failing which, you learned on the job, by which time, you know, we used to have so many parties because we couldn't finish spending the money. No sense. I could have bought many plots in Lekki Scheme 1 and be smiling to the bank today, but I'm not. Learn from my mistake. Don't make that same one. Yes, so I can disclose it, Pastor. I'm not ashamed. I am aging gracefully and proud to be growing old. I have here a susu, because many people tend to think about a susu as giving them bulk money. I consider a susu interest-free loan, and typically the risks are that the person who takes first, you know, from what Pastor said, 1 naira today is not 1 naira by December. It won't buy the same thing. So the first person who collects is usually at an advantage. And maybe my financial sense never let me do a susu because I want to, even if it's savings account, they will pay me interest every month. So I'm not a fan, largely, of a susu. And I would say be careful when you go into those things. Make sure you know what you're doing. Know your risk profile, your risk tolerance level. We all have different tolerance level when it comes to risk. But Pastor has said, go to professionals. They will guide you through these things. You don't need to remember everything. If all you take away from what I've said is, from next week, when you are paid, pay your tithes, 10% minimum. Pay yourself, 10%. You know, you did the work. But that 10%, what did I call it? Compulsory saving. Tell yourself you are not going there. It is not for emergencies. Sort yourself out when emergencies happen while you are still building that money. You must review your portfolio if you currently have investments. I would say annually to ensure that it still meets the goals and objectives you have set. And last but not least, in terms of health insurance that Pastor spoke about, I'm zeroing in on health. He spoke about more than health insurance. I'm asking if King's Court, being so progressive and forward-looking, can we consider getting an HMO for the church so that members can contribute and have health cover? Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very, 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 very much. We have a lot of questions, but our time is fast spent. I'll just try and address one or two.
Praise the Lord.
Okay, please go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to buttress what Mommy just said. As learned as some of us are, I honestly don't know so much about stock, but I believe so much in real estate. And as a realtor for over 10 years, I make sure that I put the kind of marketing I do most of the time. I don't deceive myself because I know the kind of environment I am in. So I make sure that the kind of property we list all the time are properties I know that people around me can afford. Speaking of Lekki Phase 1, when she said that they were selling Lekki Phase 1 for like 25K, yes, I have come across a lot of clients that said, this place is going for over 400 million for a plot of land and all of that. Now, we have Ekpe. This is me saying to everybody that still want to invest in real estate. We have a lot of plot of land at Ekpe. Just make sure that you are investing into a good company that has a good title and all of that. We have a lot of plot of land that I know a lot of people can afford, as low as 10 million naira and all of that. In another 5, 10 years. No, honestly, I'm serious. I am serious. Yes, as low as 10 million naira. Oh, it's not low. Oh. I'm just saying. Oh, it's 10 million. I mean, consider. I'm just saying because. I don't know.
Just let's wrap up.
Okay, if you want a good title, that's what I'm saying. That as low as 10 million naira. I mean, just consider, because I know people that are living at Songo at the time, and they were telling them about Lekki Phase 1. They said they can't go all the way. And look at what Mommy is saying. You know how much Lekki is going for. And we all know that island develop faster than the mainland. So if you have as low as 10 million naira, okay.
If you have as much as 10 million.
As 10 million naira.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the points have been very, very well made. Our time is fast spent. So what we are going to do now, there are some other questions. We can't necessarily take everything. But the last thing I will leave you with is that whichever area it is, talk to your investment professionals. If it is land, talk to people who have been in land business and know all the tricks that people play. If it is mutual funds, treasury bills, all of those, talk to your financial advisors. That's what I'm going to leave you with.